Why, hello there, and welcome to Vicky's Neighborhood. I'm Stephanie, and today I'll be reading you Vicky Goes to the Amusement Park. In this story, Vicky and her siblings, Janine and Eddie, go along with their Uncle Bob, Aunt Pat, and cousins, Sam, Dan, and Kate, to the amusement park to have some fun after the temperature drops in July. So are you ready? Good. Then let's begin now. The temperature went down on the week after the 4th of July, and Vicky was excited to go to the amusement park. As Vicky was enjoying a breakfast of over-easy eggs with apple cinnamon waffles, fresh fruit, and sipping a glass of fresh squeezed orange juice, she was thinking about riding on a carousel horse going around and around and around. The carousel is my favorite ride and the very best ride ever. Vicky smiled at her older brother Eddie and older sister Janine. My favorite is the roller coaster, said Eddie. Well, mine is the Ferris wheel, said Janine, as she picked up her glass of orange juice. But yeah, I like carousels too, Vicky. You know, Janine, Eddie said. So do I. It's so wonderful to see and hear our kids excited about going to the amusement park today, Martin. Carol grinned at her husband. Yeah, Carol, agreed Martin. They love going to the amusement park every year. Thanks for the breakfast, Mummy and Daddy. I enjoyed it, Vicky grinned. Me too, agreed Janine. Me three, Eddie agreed. Just then Vicky felt a big hand rubbing her tummy before she hopped down from her chair to help clean up the breakfast dishes with Eddie, Janine, Martin, and Carol. She knew exactly who it was. It was Aunt Pat. Hello, Aunt Pat, Vicky mused. Hi, Vicky, said Aunt Pat. Ready to go to the park? You bet I am, replied Vicky. Eddie and Janine are too. Right, Eddie and Janine? Right, Vicky, Eddie and Janine said together at the same time. An hour later, Vicky, Janine, and Eddie piled in the back seat of the van that Uncle Bob and Aunt Pat were driving. Cousin Sam, Cousin Dan, and Cousin Kate were seated in the middle. Vicky picked up her book and read it. She thought of telling her own version of Little Red Riding Hood, otherwise known as Vicky Red Riding Hood. She even thought of when she, her Uncle Peter, Aunt Lizzie, Uncle Jeff, and Grandma Ruby treated and tamed the big bad wolf who decided to be good. And in the end, the wolf became Grandma Ruby's guard wolf. I'm glad the big bad wolf became a good guy in my own version of Little Red Riding Hood, unlike the original by the Grimm brothers themselves, Vicky said aside as she saw one of the last pictures of her favorite fairy tale. Vicky, Aunt Pat said cheerfully. We're here. Vicky put down her book on Janine's seat and unbuckled her seatbelt as her Aunt Pat prepared to pick her up and carry her in her arms. She couldn't wait to have fun riding on her favorite ride at the amusement park, the carousel. Soon, Vicky, Uncle Bob, Aunt Pat, Cousin Sam, Cousin Dan, Cousin Kate, Janine, and Eddie got their amusement park visit bracelets, and then they started lining up to go on the Ferris wheel. Oh boy, said Janine eagerly. I can't wait to ride the Ferris wheel. Oh, me neither, Janine, Uncle Bob agreed. Of course, Uncle Bob and Janine were in the same boat. They loved riding the Ferris wheel. Vicki and her siblings were seated together inside the car with a roof that was shaped like an umbrella. They were riding a parachute Ferris wheel. Uncle Bob and Aunt Pat were seated inside the next car, and lastly, Cousin Sam, Cousin Dan, and Cousin Kate. In 3 separate cars, Vicki and the rest of her relatives started going up and down and around and around and around in a circle. Vicki never had so much fun in her whole entire life. After riding the Ferris wheel, Eddie wanted to ride the roller coaster, from which, of course, he had mentioned was his very favorite. Vicki was a wee bit scared, well, scared and excited at the same time. For some reason, after her big brother, Eddie, said something about riding on the roller coaster, Vicki caught sight of some people going up and down in the cars and around in one loop. "I don't think I should go on this kind of roller coaster," Vicki decided. "That's right, Vicki," a voice agreed with her. "You're much too young to ride this roller coaster until you're as tall as your sister." It was Mr. Mackenzie, Jonathan Mackenzie's father, who worked as a roller coaster guy. Vicki saw the sign that said, "You must be at least this tall to ride this roller coaster." She turned away from the sign and gave Mr. Mackenzie a big smile. "Thank you, Mr. Mackenzie," Vicki said. "You're a lifesaver." Mr. Mackenzie chuckled. "I try to be, sweetheart. I try to be." "But, Mr. Mackenzie," said Eddie, "isn't there any roller coaster that Vicki can absolutely ride here at this park?" "Absolutely, Eddie," Mr. Mackenzie grinned. "The Cutie roller coaster along with my son." "Yay!" Vicki exclaimed happily. "Yeah, yay," Johnny agreed when he appeared before his father. "Come on, Vicki, let's go ride the Cutie roller coaster where my mama is working." "Thanks again, Mr. Mackenzie," Vicki said gratefully as she took Johnny's hand. "You're welcome again," replied Mr. Mackenzie. "Have fun and be careful." "I think I'll follow them," Uncle Bob decided, "just to make sure they're safe and not lost." "Okay, Bob," agreed Aunt Pat. "I'll stay with the kids." So Aunt Pat went on the roller coaster with Janine, Eddie, Cousin Sam, and Cousin Dan. Of course, Cousin Kate stayed with her brothers, cousins, and mother as her father caught up with Vicki and Johnny. Amanda Francis was seated next to William Henderson, who was one of Vicki's classmates. "Hi there, I'm Mandy," she smiled. "Call me Billy," said Billy. "Well, nice to meet you, Billy," Mandy said politely as she shook hands with Billy. Soon Vicki, Johnny, Billy, Mandy, Mina, Andy, Tanya, Luca, Dana, and Ashley were riding the Cutie roller coaster as it was going around in one big circle without a loop. Vicki was loving it, and so was her classmates. After riding the Cutie roller coaster, Vicki really wanted to ride the carousel so badly. "You know, Vicki," said Mandy, "I feel the same." "Me too," Vicki's classmates chattered in agreement. Vicki thanked Mrs. Mackenzie and trotted off with the rest of the kids and her Uncle Bob, where they met Aunt Pat, Janine, Eddie, Cousin Sam, Cousin Dan, and Cousin Kate at the carousel. "Hi, Vicki," said Janine. "We saw you riding on the Cutie roller coaster." "Yeah, did you have fun riding it?" Eddie asked as his cheeks turned pink. "Yeah, Eddie and Janine," Vicki said. "I'm glad I made the right choice by not going on the big roller coaster. Otherwise, I'd fall off and get killed, right, Uncle Bob?" "You can bet your Mary Jane shoes on it, Vicki," Uncle Bob replied. Soon, Vicki went on her favorite amusement ride ever in the world, the carousel. She was happy riding on the horse that was pink as strawberry ice cream, with chocolate brown mane and vanilla white hooves. "I wish I had a real horse just like this," If I want to live in my own fairy tale and be a princess, Vicki mused as she was enjoying her horse going up and down. Me too, Vicki, agreed Johnny. I want to live like a prince. For the rest of the day, Vicki had fun going on some more amusement park rides, including the teacups, which happened to be her second favorite. And she can just imagine riding inside one of the teacups with Alice and the Mad Hatter. After winning a panda bear prize at a balloon popping game, Vicki hugged it as she and the group lined up to get something to eat. All of that riding and winning a game has sure made me hungry, said Vicki. Me too, I'm hungry, Janine agreed. Vicki, Uncle Bob, Aunt Pat, Janine, Eddie, Cousin Sam, Cousin Dan, and Cousin Kate enjoyed eating some of the foods they can think of, from burgers to hot dogs to tacos to ice cream and cotton candy. So, Vicki, did you have fun at the amusement park today? Asked Aunt Pat as she helped her niece carry her Po the panda bear and hold her hand. I sure did, Aunt Pat, Vicki replied before taking a sip of her pink lemonade, and looked to see that the sun had already disappeared on the horizon. Can we come back next year? Oh, of course we can, sweetie, Aunt Pat replied joyfully. And that is the end of Vicki Goes to the Amusement Park. Thank you so very much for joining me today, everybody. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. I will be reading you Vicki Goes to School in my next video. Until then, catch you later and have a lovely day.